It is October 25th, and I haven't done a daily update in almost 2 months now. I don't know why I let this much time go by, but my book has launched, so let's see if we can do a very quick daily update, and then hopefully I will not be 2 months behind in terms of my daily update. So I'm joining you back in Los Angeles. I've been doing a lot of cross-country travel. I'm getting ready to travel across the country again. There is part of me that does wonder if maybe it makes more sense for me to stay on the East Coast. I grew up there, have a place to stay, but there's something just about being able to come back to LA and have a couple days to recharge before doing it all again. I'm still doing a lot of press for the book, even after the book came out. So I had a podcast recording today. Yesterday, I recorded a podcast and then caught up with a friend and doing my laundry. Wednesday, the 23rd, I was in Philadelphia for a client visit, meeting up with the client to do a little bit of a tour, did my keynote, and then signed some books before heading to the airport. So I was actually in Philadelphia from Monday until Wednesday, because on Tuesday, I ended up having a virtual keynote that day, but decided to do a book event that night with my friend Andrea Dalzell, and then all friends from all different walks of life. That's actually been one of my favorite parts of the book so far, is being able to see everyone from all different parts of life come together. It kind of feels like a wedding, but I'm traveling to the places that people are. So someone that I did a theater program with 20 years ago was there. Someone I went to college with over 15 years ago. And then after the book talk, I ended up grabbing pizza with a couple of friends. Today is a big day because 2 days after the book came out, we actually sold out of stock. So today, October 25th, the books are getting restocked. Then Monday was a travel day. When I arrived, it was kind of late, and the only thing in the area was a Ruby Tuesday. So I had Ruby Tuesday for dinner that night and then lunch on Tuesday. Sunday, I ended up going to Beverly Hills for an event. And one of the things I was thinking about was kind of just how grateful I am to live in Los Angeles and have access to such beautiful views all the time. Because Saturday, I ended up going to Laguna for the first time for a friend's baby shower, and then came back to LA that night for a supper club that my friend had invited me to. Friday, the 18th, I flew back. That entire week, I was in Denver and Baltimore. So I flew back from Baltimore in the morning. Then that evening, got to be a part of the LA stop of Chronicon on tour, and afterward got to grab dinner, and that was really fun too. Thursday, the 17th, I was in Baltimore. I had a keynote event. I've noticed that all of this travel is taking a little bit of its toll, so I feel like I was resting for most of the day, recorded some content for a campaign, did my keynote, grabbed dinner there. Wednesday, I had a talk in the morning that I actually took from the airport, hopped on the flight, and then grabbed dinner with my sister and did a Baltimore book event where I only knew one person in the audience, and we had a great turnout, and my mom even came, which is a pretty big deal. Tuesday the 15th, I was in Denver. I was there for an event called the Human Potential Summit. I also had 2 talks that day. Went in the morning to catch the beginning of the summit, did my talk, grabbed lunch, had another talk, and then went back to the summit for a little bit before heading over to my Denver book event, which was also really fun. I did it with Allie Cannington. On Monday the 14th, it was a holiday, but that was my travel day. So I traveled from LA to Denver, joined the Human Potential Summit. Sunday the 13th, I was back in LA, and I actually had tickets to attend this seafood festival. And just when I got up that day, I felt like I just needed to be at home for a little bit because I was getting ready to be on the road a lot. So ended up finding some worthy people to gift the tickets to, and that felt good that the tickets didn't end up going to waste. Friday the 11th, had a call in the morning, and then ended up heading to this YouTube Creator Collective event that was celebrating Filipino Heritage Month, which with Latinx Heritage Month. On the 10th, had a book event in the morning and then a talk. And then I wanted to go to this event that was happening, but had a call right in the middle of it, so I couldn't make it out. On the 9th, I had my LA book event with Brandon Farbstein, and that was also really fun. It was held at the Last Bookstore. October 8th, Tuesday, October 8th, was my launch day, the launch of this book. I ended up having like a pretty low-key day. I did an Instagram live and then headed out to West Hollywood area to join this event that I had gotten invited to, and ended up grabbing dinner with the Easter Seal Southern California crew. Monday was the day before my launch, had a podcast interview. On October 6th, Sunday, had a Dreamers and Doers event that day. On October 5th, my friend had invited me to join the Disability Rights Legal Center fundraiser, so I got to go and meet Lauren Ridloff and give her a copy of the book, which I was super excited about. So then on Sunday, I ended up co-working with a friend out in Santa Monica before heading out to the Dreamers and Doers event. The 3rd, I had some prep calls, trying to figure out if I could make a Denver event work on short notice, had a podcast interview, and essentially in the lead up to the launch, I was like trying to take it easy because I just knew, or I had an inkling that things would be pretty intense. Wednesday, October 2nd, ended up having a Diversability event that was focused on like connecting through a show and tell activity. On October 1st, I had a podcast interview and then an option to go to this creator event in Hollywood, but I didn't end up making it out. I think now in retrospect, I'm realizing that the sacrifices I made of like not going to a lot of events, I am wondering if maybe I would do that again, but I just felt like I was really behind and wanted to see if I could catch up a little bit. And I'm still behind, and maybe this weekend I'll see if I can try to catch up a little bit. Monday the 30th, I took a red eye into DC because I had gotten invited to this Team USA celebration. Had a couple meetings before I headed straight back to the airport to fly back that night. And then on September 29th, grabbed lunch with a friend, and then we went to go check out the Nova exhibit. And I ended up having dinner with some of the group that was there. It was hosted by this group called Reality, which I had traveled with back in 2016. On Saturday, the 28th, I ended up meeting up in West Hollywood with a group that I'm in called the 10th House. And then on Friday, had a board meeting in the morning, and then got ramen that night. Thursday, the September 26th, had an interview. The 25th, more interviews. September 24th, again, a couple of podcast recordings. And then that night was actually my first ever book event. It was the pre-order party for the book, and that was hosted by Unicorn Authors Club. September 19th, had a Diversability event in the morning, and then joined the Google Grid program. We had a salon, and then decided to go to this event hosted by Agency Guacamole. This was one of those where I had RSVP'd for it, and then was trying to decide like last minute if I should go or not. I'm glad I went, so maybe the lesson here is just to go, because I feel like I have been scaling back on going to a lot of events. On the 18th, had a couple of interviews. 16th, I had a lunch meeting for someone who is working at a company that's creating orthotics. Had an advisory board meeting in the morning. And then on the 15th, I got invited to this tea event at Shopify where we did like some painting, there was food, getting to meet some other creators. On the 14th, I got invited to go to one of my friends' housewarming parties and got to catch up with some friends there. On the 13th, ended up going to the launch party of the Modern Day Wife podcast, where I got to catch up with my friend Christy. Then on the 12th, had some podcast interviews, and then that night went to the Asian Creator Awards. On the 11th, had a couple calls, and then actually ended up having like a last minute interview, which was pretty cool, and then headed from there directly to this event hosted by Parks, because my friend had just drawn, actually it's right there if you can see it, had just drawn this artwork to help raise money to support the parks. Tuesday the 10th, I was flying back from DC because on the 9th, it was this celebratory event at the White House for the 34th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. I grabbed lunch with Diego that morning and then got to attend. And I ended up flying into DC on Sunday the 8th. And then on the 6th and the 7th, ended up taking a trip to San Francisco. Then on the 5th, did a podcast interview and an interview for the book with Katie Couric, which that piece is now out. Also did a podcast interview on Wednesday the 4th. And on the 3rd, ended up meeting with a friend that I went to college with. Tuesday was the day that I flew back from Paris. And I got invited. I stayed an extra day because there was this event with Nike that I got to catch very briefly. And then I toured the Paralympic Athlete Village, got to try one of the muffins, which takes us back to Sunday the 1st, where I recorded that last one at the hotel. Ended up staying with a friend, Tracy. We got to catch up. I don't think I've seen her in probably almost 15 years. We went to Team USA House and then a celebration with two of my Paralympic athlete friends, Brigitte and Andreas. And that was really fun. We were just flying all around the city. And that's the update. My book has been out for about 2.5 weeks now. The second print is out, and I can actually tell the difference between the first print and the second print. So just continuing to ride the momentum. There have been some stock and shipping delays, so it's taking a couple weeks for people to get their books. But outside of that, it's just been really fun to see how the book is empowering people to make change right away. I'm getting ready for a pretty full next week and then traveling again. Excited to kind of be out in the community and meet people who are excited to get a copy of the book and talk more about anti-ableism. So with that, thanks everybody.